Hello all and welcome to our daily news show, The Big Story, where we talk about the hottest topics of today right in the heart of the newsroom. I'm Kimberly Jiao, coming to you live from the Straits Times, and we are streaming on Facebook and YouTube, so do leave us a like, comment and share it with your friends, as well as click that bell to be told whenever we go live. I'll be joined by my colleagues from the newsroom later on to discuss the stories that got you talking today. Our first story, the United Nations held a special action summit about climate change on Monday, September 23rd. And not just any world leader was allowed to speak at this summit. In fact, this excluded Brazil, Poland, Saudi Arabia, and the United States. And with us to talk about this, my apologies, is climate change editor David Fogarty and environment correspondent Audrey Tan. Hello.
Hi.
So this summit happened, last night. And before we get into the details with you guys, teen activist Greta Thunberg actually opened this summit with a speech. So let's have a look.
This is all wrong. I shouldn't be up here. I should be back in school on the other side of the ocean. Yet you all come to us young people for hope. How dare you? You have stolen my dreams and my childhood with your empty words, and yet I'm one of the lucky ones. People are suffering, people are dying, entire ecosystems are collapsing. We are in the beginning of a mass extinction, and all you can talk about is money and fairy tales of eternal economic growth. How dare you?
So she's very passionate about this matter, right? Because she's saying how urgent it is. But actually, this is not a new thing, correct? This urgency is not new at all.
That's correct. I mean, scientists have been telling the public and politicians for years that climate change is a growing problem, is a growing challenge. The effects are already here and being felt more keenly, and we know what to do. This is a problem that mankind has produced, right? It's not something that's been imposed upon us. And we need to cut emissions, and quickly and deeply. This has been the mantra for many years within the UN, amongst climate scientists, and we just have not acted with that necessary urgency. And now we're basically on a train ride at the last stop before it goes over the cliff. I mean, we've totally run out of time.
Right. So with that metaphor in mind, when we talk about the UN Climate Summit, how did the world leaders sort of react? What was the outcome of the summit?
So there were many positive things at the summit, and there were some unfortunate displays of lack of action. So the good stuff to start off with would be there were a lot of coalitions that sort of got together, like the 30 new and updated sort of pledges of action amongst banks, pension funds, asset managers, cities, even shipping companies. There are a lot of non-government actors that really want to do something about climate change, and many of them sort of control, up to trillions of dollars, particularly in the case of the asset managers and banks. So they want to, if you like, decarbonize their portfolios. They want to get away from fossil fuels, get away from big polluting companies. To the point of getting to the aim of being net zero by 2050, which is a key UN goal. And you have, there was a group of about 66 countries that pledged net zero emissions by 2050. So that was quite positive. But most of these are small countries that are, really on the front line. So they're very keen to act.
Right.
Then you had a country like Finland, which is, quite a wealthy country. It pledged basically to be the only industrialized country so far to absorb more emissions than it produces.
Wow.
But where the summit sort of failed, I think, was the biggest emitters did not heed the UN Secretary General's call to really go for stronger action. They did not put down any plans that really showed much deeper ambition to cut emissions. Right. China is the world's top polluter and has been something of a climate champion, but it said it wouldn't announce any new climate plans until next year. They're a little bit worried about where the trade war is going. They're also concerned about the impacts on the economy, so they're not quite ready to get there yet. But
right.
The expectation is that they will announce something stronger next year.
Right. And the US is also one of the countries that sort of didn't submit any of their proposals.
No,
right?
no, not with. I mean, Donald Trump is a climate skeptic. He's more keen on sort of drilling in protected oil reserves and
Right.
ramping up domestic, gas production, oil. He sees as dirty as good. You know.
Right. So speaking of the different countries, what did Singapore specifically, if you can bring it locally, what did Singapore bring to the table at the UN Climate Summit?
So Singapore laid out what it's doing now, and it has its own areas of ambition that it feels that the government feels that it can do now.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't anything new on the table, but then Singapore and many other countries, there was not an expectation or a duty to deliver anything at the summit. The whole idea of the summit was really to inject a bit of urgency into the Paris Climate Agreement. And under that agreement, all the signatories, nearly 200 of them, agreed that a process in which every 5 years, starting in 2015, nations would agree and set out more ambitious climate actions every 5 years. So
Right.
Each 5 years is stepwise more ambitious. So that process doesn't have to be completed till the end of next year. So I guess we're expecting Singapore, along with China and many others, to complete that process.
Right. We can only hope, I guess, at the end of 2020.